different odds, and that's the problem with appealing to bubble universes, additional universes coming into being.
Michael, your choice of comments.
Are we on here yet? Okay, I think is this the young man here that asked the question?
No, he sat down.
It's a great question. It's, gosh, if my 11-year-old asked that, this would be wonderful. Your brain is engaged. Because that is one of the hard problems. But the problem exists whether you have one universe expanding or multiple universes or even if there's a God. You just simply ask, well, what's beyond that? And we have the capacity to ask that, but we can't really answer it because in a way, the universe, when it's expanding, when the universe began and it's expanding, it's not expanding into anything. It is the space and time as it expands. It is everything. You can't even ask the question. It's like asking what's north of the North Pole. It's a nonsensical question. It's unfortunate, but it's true it's true if you're a theist too. What's beyond God? Who made God? These are infinite kind of questions that we can't really ask. And on the Christ body thing, and people gave their lives. I'm always amazed by this argument that the Christians use. I mean, look at Marshall Applewhite. He convinced 39 hardcore disciples to take their lives to go to the UFO behind Jupiter. By committing suicide. Jim Jones got 900 people to kill themselves, and so on. Followers do this. They're true believers. That's
Michael,
what true believers do.
Carbon dating?
The carbon dating was the... there are error bars in the carbon dating. It varies maybe about 10 to 12% on any given date, but it's fairly accurate. They've gotten much better at it now. You can use smaller samples. It's pretty accurate.
Dr. Hogan?
On carbon dating?
Carbon dating.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it was invented in 1950 with Willard Libby, University of Chicago, got a Nobel Prize for it, moved on to Stanford University. Way before that, in 1830, the geologic column was developed. Really, the way they tell the age of things is by which position they are in the geologic column. They date the fossils by which layer they come from. Then they turn around and date the layers by which type of fossils are found in them. Circular reasoning. We'll cover that tomorrow in the seminar if you want to come.
All right. Good enough. 3 questions.
Question mostly for Mr. Shermer, but for all three. What is your greatest motivation for being here, and what do you fear if you wouldn't have shown up today?
Okay.
Me? Yeah.
I think I'm particularly for Dr. Hovan, but the question I have is if the flood, the cataclysm in 40 days and 40 nights, if during that time he's going to put the trilobites up in Sedona and he's going to carve the Grand Canyon, did he do this to confuse us?
Good question.
Given the various errors that I have experienced in textbooks and, contrary to some comments tonight, and the omissions of contradictory information to the neo-Darwinistic theory, why shouldn't one believe that these textbooks are written more from a philosophical position rather than from a search for truth?
Michael, we'll start with you and move left.
Okay. Well, we kind of did the why we're here question because I'm curious, like to know. Thought I'd see the city that has the team that the Lakers just beat last night. Just a gratuitous, just a little, yeah. Hey, but you had us scared for a while there. No, just because it's fun stuff. Yeah, the Grand Canyon and all this, did God plant the fossils to confuse us? No, it was Satan testing your faith, whatever. Yeah, of course, obviously, this is a bit of a problem for believers. What do you make of all this evidence? Errors and omissions in textbooks, I kind of addressed that in my first part of my 10-minute thing. This is a problem, again, not for science. It's a problem for textbook publishing. Scientists weed these things out. You don't see these errors. They get weeded out very quickly. It's the scientists themselves. If you go to an evolution conference, you're not going to find like universal agreement about stuff. You should see these guys going at it. They have all kinds of great battles within evolutionary science. It's really a delight to see. It's nothing like what you think it is. As outsiders, you've never been to an evolution conference. Oh, they must have this sort of uniform religion-like agreement and everything. They don't. They fight over all kinds of things.
All right. Kyle?
I guess there was applause, but not very much. So you're going to have to do better next time.
Go ahead.
Sorry. What were the questions again, please?
Okay, why are here, Grand Canyon, and errors and omissions?
Okay.
Any one of them.
Yeah. Why anybody's here? That was specifically for you.
Yeah,
Errors and omissions. I think I'm going to have to take a view that goes kind of with Michael's, and that is that you see that knowledge is a construction, that it's a product that it's a moving target, it's constantly growing. This year, science is going to be something completely different in 200 years. We're going to look back and, you know, I wish I'd put it up there, Jimi Hendrix in bell jeans, or blue jeans, or bell-bottom pants and beads and stuff at an afro. You know, knowledge grows, just like we change in time. That's why I aim for some universals. I don't just say that nature reveals all of truth, that nature, as corrected or understood through the Bible, reveals the truth. So we don't have a complete handle on this. Our textbooks are always going to have errors in them, and we're just going to have to live with that.
Dr. Hovind?
I will choose the question, did God deceive us with the Grand Canyon, and that Michael Shermer's statement that this is a problem for believers. If you built a dam across Grand Canyon, get that projector off there if you would, a huge lake would form. These red lines indicate what's called the snow line. Grand Canyon, 200 miles, cut across from the upper right to the lower left. Grand Canyon, the river enters the canyon at 2,800 feet above sea level. The top of the ridge is 7,000 or 8,000 feet above sea level. So, some things to consider about Grand Canyon. Number one, the top is higher than the bottom. Number two, the river only runs through the bottom. Number three, the top is higher than where the river enters the canyon by 4,000 feet. Number four, rivers don't flow uphill. There is no possible way that river made that canyon. Grand Canyon is quite obviously a washed-out spillway from a couple of big lakes called Grand Lake and Hopi Lake. The lakes are gone. The beach is still there. No, God didn't deceive us. I think he left behind incredible evidence that there was a flood, which indicates he judged this world, and he's going to judge it again, whether you like it or not.
Thank you, Doctor. Quick questions, quick answers.
If we evolved, then why did we develop sexual reproduction when asexual reproduction is easily achieved?
Dr. Sherman, I appreciate you explaining that just because we don't find a natural explanation to things, that doesn't mean that there's a divine explanation. But aren't you asking us to accept a theory where we see that goes against what we normally see in nature, that natural systems don't build things up gradually, but break things down? And in addition, we don't have one example, if it did happen, we don't have one example of an organism or an organ or even an organelle of how it formed in a step-by-step fashion.
Very good. Third one.
Dr. Shermer, if you want us to look at the Bible in a different way and see the meaning behind the story, tell me, what do you think is the meaning behind Jesus when he says, I am the way and the truth and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me.
All right, we'll start with Dr. Shermer. Move to the left again.
Okay. Why is sexual reproduction better than asexual reproduction? Well, young man, you're about to find out in a few more years. There's more jokes in there somewhere. I think there was some crusty old biology professor who asked his students who invented asexual reproduction. They said, your wife. And anyway,
We'll be here all week.
it's a simple explanation in the sense that sexual reproduction produces variation and natural selection operates on variation. That's what generates change in biology. In terms of natural, second law of thermodynamics.